of many foreign citizens. Due to Eleanor Roosevelt's persistence and dedication, compassion and desire for a charter of the universal rights led to the accomplishment of her goal on December 10, 1948, when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights took effect throughout the United Nations. Now I will let Danielle inform you of the speaking concept of the speech and why Eleanor Roosevelt inspired us.
Eleanor Roosevelt was an excellent inspirational speaker who's used many speaking complex concepts when delivering a heartfelt speech. Her use of ethos, pathos, and logos within her speech is what captivated her audience's attention and made them feel for the movement she was proposing. Eleanor's use of pathos within her speech exemplified her position and importance of the subject she was speaking about. Her calm, collected demeanor was the way of grasping the audience's attention, but at points of importance uses stern voice with passion and enthusiasm to illustrate her emphasis on certain points within her subject. Her use of ethos was the main force behind her. Her credibility of a successful reputation and the issues she has resolved throughout her career was a major factor contributing to the influence she had over her audience. With the reasons, points, examples, and solutions she gave when delivering her speech gave her the credibility of knowledge about her subject and convinced her audience that her solution is the right choice. The final speaking concept she utilizes within her speech was the use of logos. The evidence and reasoning behind her arguments, her solution, and the way her solution would contribute positively made her a convincing, logical, dedicated speaker and advocate of the movements she believed in. Combining the speaking concepts of ethos, pathos, and logos gave her the ability to drive and deliver an influential, convincing speech. Now I'll inform you on why Eleanor Roosevelt inspired us and many people around the world. Eleanor Roosevelt's speech, The Struggle for Human Rights, was an inspiration for people all over the world. Not only did it have an impact on Americans, but it was delivered in France, so it affected the majority of the nations involved in the United Nations. Eleanor Roosevelt encouraged people to maintain peace with each other. I quote her in this speech saying, "It seems to me there is valid reason for taking time today to think carefully and clearly on the subject of human rights, because in the acceptance and observance of these rights lies the root, I believe, of our chance of peace in the future." Eleanor Roosevelt not only spoke on the Declaration of Human Rights, but she was the chair of the Commission on Human Rights and helped write it. Eleanor Roosevelt's speeches affected many people, but she had a tremendous effect on women. Her speeches reached women of all ages all around the world. First, she changed the way a First Lady was portrayed. She was the first to be involved in the presidency. Even before her husband won the Oval Office in '33, she helped him with his work. When he became paralyzed, she stood in for him during times of public appearances and spoke on his behalf. She was successful at this, which was a breakthrough for women because at that time most wouldn't even think of meddling in their husband's affairs. President Truman called her the First Lady of the world. She was actually criticized at first for when her husband became president because people thought she was doing too much as a woman during that time. Because she continued with her speeches and her business when her husband became president. Soon people warmed up to her though. She became the first lady to start a weekly press conference as the wife of a president, and she gave society insight into being a first lady and made them feel that they could relate to her. She used her speaking skills to her advantage. She spoke for what she believed in and inspired people along the way. She spoke on civil rights, working women's rights, backed up her husband's New Deal plan, worked to abolish child labor, and more. She motivated African Americans to fight for their rights during the civil rights movement by speaking in support of civil rights, which was very beneficial because she had the luxury of speaking out and people actually listened to her. So she gave many African Americans a voice and they were heard by many. She spoke out about human rights, women's rights, and gave women a voice as well. Most women at that time wouldn't have dreamed of saying the things she did in her speeches, and they were inspired by her words. Every First Lady since Eleanor Roosevelt has been more involved with things in the White House, and she set a higher standard for not only ladies, but all kinds of people around the world.
Okay, with our speech, we hope we have educated you of the fight that has continued throughout history for the human rights. We would like to end our speech with a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places, close to home, so close and so small they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Yet they are the world of the individual person. The neighborhood he lives in, the school or college he attends, the factory, farm, or office where he works. Such are the places where every man, woman, and child seeks equal justice, equal opportunity, equal dignity, without discrimination. Unless these rights have a meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere. Without concerned citizens' actions to uphold these close to home, we shall look in vain for progress in the larger world. Eleanor, with her humanitarian heart and persistence, was successful in making a Magna Carta, which she called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the law of all mankind.